Let's talk about the chapter A Question of Trust, which is a story of a thief. How a thief who was not that professional one, who used to steal objects basically to fulfill one of his hobbies, how once he was a thief was cheated. कैसे एक thief को ही cheat कर लिया गया. The story deals with this concept. Everyone thought that Horace Denby was a good, honest citizen. हर किसी को ये लगता था कि होरेस डैनबी एक अच्छा ऑनेस्ट सिटीजन है. He was about 50 years old and unmarried. He lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health. उसके घर में there was a housekeeper जो उसकी हेल्थ को लेकर टेंशन में रहती थी. In fact, he was usually very well and happy, except for attacks of hay fever in summer. उसे सिर्फ समर के दिनों में जो पॉलन ग्रेन से छींके और बुखार चालू हो जाता है वो कभी कभी हो जाया करता था. अदरवाइज उसे कोई और इशू नहीं था. होरेस डेनबी के अगर प्रोफेशन की बात करें, ही यूज्ड टू मेक लॉक्स, वो ताले चाबी बनाया करता था. एंड ही वॉज मीन्स सक्सेसफुल इनफ एट हिज बिजनेस टू हैव 2 हेल्पर्स. His business was so flourishing that he could afford 2 helpers over there. Yes, Horace Denby was a good and respectable person, but not completely honest. Point is this कि वो good और respectable बंदा तो था, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है, but not completely honest. इतना भी जितना हम उसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं वो इतना भी ऑनेस्ट नहीं था. थोड़ा सा उसकी पर्सनैलिटी में झोल था. देयर वॉज अ ग्लिच इन हिज पर्सनैलिटी. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. 15 साल पहले की बात है. होरेस को अपनी ज़िंदगी में पहली और आखिरी बार एक जेल जाना पड़ा. एंड ही was sentenced over there, and there in the jail he worked in the prison library. He loved rare, expensive books. From there he started liking rare and expensive books. So he robbed a safe every year. हर साल वो एक सेफ लूटा करता था. एक सेफ पूरे साल में. In the entire year he used to steal only for one time. पूरे साल में वो सिर्फ एक बार चोरी किया करता था. So in the entire year he used to rob a safe so that he could purchase the rare and expensive books, so that he could fulfill his hobby of purchasing rare and expensive books. Each year he planned carefully just what he would do. He used to plan very carefully for his stealing, for his theft every year, and he used to steal enough to last for 12 months. वो इतने चुरा लेता था एक ही बार में. ऐसी प्लानिंग करके he used to steal after careful planning, means he used to steal that much which would last for at least 12 months, so that he does not have to go for another stealing. He secretly bought the books he loved through an agent, and then he had an agent. He basically, with the help of that agent, he used to purchase his desired expensive and rare books. So ये जो expensive and rare books का जो उसका शौक था, this hobby was the reason behind every year's theft. हर साल की चोरी के पीछे यही उसका एक रीज़न होता था. Today also, walking in the bright July sunshine, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be as successful as all the others. Today, he is again going for his yearly theft. वो अपनी yearly theft पर जा रहा है और उसे he has means एक second. So he was pretty sure that this year's robbery was also going to be successful as his early robberies had been. जैसे उसकी पहले की रॉबरी सक्सेसफुल रही हैं तो ये भी अच्छी जाएगी. For 2 weeks he had been studying the house at Shotover Grange. Shotover Grange नाम की जगह पर 2 हफ्तों से he had been doing recce of this house, he had been observing this house, he had been planning this house for this house, looking at its room, its electric wiring, its path, its garden. Horace Denby knew every inch of the house. This afternoon, the 2 servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London. Actually, the family which used to live in that house was in London now, and there were only 2 servants. And today, those 2 servants had also gone to the movies. They have also gone for the movie. Horace saw them go, and he felt happy. In spite of a little tickle of hay fever in his nose, he was quite okay. There was a kind of tickling sensation in the nose because of those pollen and all, because of the hay fever. इसके अलावा everything was nice. He came out from behind the garden wall. His tools were carefully packed in a bag which was on his back. He had a backpack where he was having all his tools which he would be requiring or needing for doing this theft, for committing this theft. There were about 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the Grange safe. He had studied already. He had already studied about the house, that in the safe of this house, there are around 15,000 pound worth of jewels over there. And he was thinking कि if he sold them one by one, because चोरी के बाजार में चीज़ों के you don't get the price of the objects basically that high. So he still had plans over there. He was thinking that if he sold them one by one, still he expected to get at least 5,000. Minimum he would procure 5,000 pounds by selling all those jewels. And that was that amount, that 5,000 pounds were enough to make him happy for another year. That would easily last for 1 year, and he will not have to go for any other robbery or theft throughout the year. That one theft is more than enough. And that was his quality. He used to do all the calculations beforehand, before committing a theft. एक चोरी करने से पहले वो सारे प्लान अपने साथ, सारी ऑब्जर्वेशन, सारी रेकी अच्छे से करता था. There were 3 very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn. He also knew that autumn के सीजन में 3 बहुत ही interesting books आने वाली है. Now he would get the money, he wanted to buy them, and he was sure that today he will get the money and he will be able to buy those 3 books. Expensive and rare books. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside. He had already seen those 2 servants who have hanged the key to the kitchen door on the hook outside. So he put on a pair of gloves, because he took the key. He opened the door. Wearing the gloves, he opened the door. He was always very careful not to leave any fingerprints. That was his quality. He never used to leave any fingerprints. That's why he was ahead of all. That's why he was not caught. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. Inside the house, there was a dog in the kitchen. It stirred, it moved, it made a noise, and moved its tail in a friendly way. "All right, Sherry," Horace said as he passed. Horace passed the dog, and while passing, he took the name of the dog. "All right, Sherry." He even, see the level of his planning, he even knew the name of the dog. "All right, Sherry." कहता है, all you have to do to keep dogs quiet is to call them by their right names. If you ever have to handle any dog, you must know only one thing, the name of the dog. That's it. If you know the right name of the dog, and if you show them love, they will never harm you. And that's what he did. He called the dog by its name. The safe was in the drawing room, behind a rather poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books. When Horace saw the expensive painting in this house, he quite thought for a moment that I should stop collecting books. Rather, I should start collecting paintings and pictures. But then he thought that no, I cannot because I have a small house. And paintings basically take up too much room. They need much space, bigger space over there to store. If you want to keep paintings in your home, you need to have a bigger space. And Horace did not have bigger space. That's why in a small house, books were better. So, okay, my hobby of collecting book is nice one. That's it. There was a great bowl of flowers on the table. Horace felt his nose tickle because flowers produce those pollens. फ्लावर से पॉलन प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, दैट्स वाई होरेस को अपनी नाक में थोड़ी टिकलिंग हुई. ही गेव अ लिटिल स्नीज, छींका वो, एंड देन पुट डाउन हिज बैग. ही केयरफुली अरेंज्ड हिज टूल्स. ही वॉज ऑल सेट टू डू द थेफ्ट. ही वॉज ऑल सेट टू रॉब द हाउस. He had 4 hours before the servants returned. He already knew that the servants had gone minimum for 4 hours. So I have 4 hours in my hand. I can easily do this theft, this robbery without any hurdles, without any obstacles. Nobody is there to stop me because the servants had gone to watch the movie. They will come minimum after 4 hours. That was plenty of time. That was enough time for him to do this crime, to do this theft. The safe was not going to be hard to open. Opening a safe is quite an easy task for him. It's like a butterfly task for him. It's like a butter cake for him. Why? Because he had spent all his life between locks and keys. He had the business of locks and keys. So it's not at all tough for him to open any safe. And Horace felt after all, he had lived with locks and safe all his life. That was his profession. The burglar alarm was poorly built. In every safe there is an alarm, but that was poorly built. The alarm was not that technically of good quality. So he easily diffused that. He was easily able to cut the wires. He went into the hall to cut its wires. He came back and sneezed loudly as the smell of the flower came to him. The more the smell was coming, the more he was having that hay fever kind of thing, the sneezing. Then he started thinking within himself, how foolish people are when they own valuable things. It happens when people become rich, with richness there comes foolishness. The more rich you become, the more foolish, the more eccentric, the more sunky you become. Like such a big house, such a grand house, and the owner of the house has given all the details of this house in a magazine over there in an interview. Kamal hai. Horace thought, why? Because a magazine article had described this house. Few days back, there was an article in a magazine, and in that article, the whole, you can say, blueprint of the house was given, giving a plan of all the rooms and the pictures of this room. And the writer of that article also mentioned that behind this painting there is a hidden safe. What else a thief needs? All the details were already given on a platter to him. When he read the article, it was all clear to him. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his work. Horace realized that these flowers are creating obstacles in my work. These flowers are creating obstacle in my work. Why? Because of the flower, the smell, the fragrance, because of the pollens, he was again and again sneezing. He buried his face in his handkerchief to avoid that pollen, but still he sneezed very loudly. And this time when he sneezed, he heard a voice say from the doorway. Suddenly there came a voice from the doorway. What is it? A cold or a hay fever? What happened to you? Is it a cold or is it a hay fever? Somebody asked him. Before he could think, Horace said, it came out of his mouth spontaneously, naturally. He replied, "It's a hay fever." And suddenly he found himself sneezing again. The voice went on. That voice kept on saying, "Now, bro, you can cure it with a special treatment. Hay fever is not a big deal. You just need a special treatment. You know, if you find out just what plants give you this disease, I think that's it. You just need to find out the source or locate the basic reason of this fever. There are some specific plants which gives you this kind of disease. So try to find out, locate those plants. That's it. Avoid those plants and you will never have hay fever. I think you would better see a doctor if you are serious about your work. If you seriously want to this robbery business, if you seriously want to do this stealing business, you should better see a doctor. Why? Because you cannot do robbery inside a house sneezing so loud. People will wake up. I heard you from the top of the house just now. I could hear your sneezing from the top of the house." It was quite kindly voice. Very kind voice it was, but one with firmness in it, but a very confident voice. A woman was standing in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her. The dog was also rubbing against that girl. She was young, quite pretty, and she was dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. "Down, Sherry." Now she scolded or chided the dog a bit. हल्का सा उसने कुत्ते को डांटा. "Stop doing this. Stop rubbing your body against me. Anyone would think I had been away for a month." She smiled at Horace and went on. "However, I came back just in time. वो तो शुक्र है that I came in time. Though I did not expect to meet a burglar. I never thought that after reaching my home I will meet a burglar. I will have this encounter with you. I never thought." Horace had some hopes. For a moment, Horace Danby got a bit scared, but then he had some hopes. Why? Because the woman was talking to him very positively. Because that woman, there was no element of threat in her voice. उसकी आवाज में कोई threat नहीं था. She was talking kindly, she was talking politely, she was talking nicely. So he had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. So he within himself thought that I am caught red-handed. पकड़ा तो मैं गया हूं. But he might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. If I treat this lady in a decent way, if I do not create any problem for her, I hope she will let me go. That was the thought processing of Horace. That if I treat this girl nicely, she may let me go and the things can be handled easily. He replied, "Ma'am, I also didn't expect to meet one of the family. I was thinking that the house was empty. I studied about it." She nodded. "Yeah, I see. What an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. I know, bro. You are quite uncomfortable watching me. Because of me, you are facing inconveniences right now. I know this. What are you going to do? Now tell me. अब तुम क्या करने वाले हो?" Horace said, "Ma'am, my first thought was to run. First thought is to run from here. Who would like to stay? I am caught red-handed. I came to your house to steal things. You have caught me. Now what will I do? I will just try and run. Of course, you could do that. The lady is saying, of course, you can run. But I would telephone the police. But you will not be safe for a longer time. Why? Because I will inform the police. I will tell them all about you. And they will get you at once. They will capture you, recapture you. So Horace ne kaha, oh please, I'm not that much, you can say, foolish. Before going, I will make it sure कि you cannot or you should not call the police. मैं भी कोई कच्ची गोलियां नहीं खेली है. I will also do some arrangement over there so that you should not call the police. I would of course cut the telephone wires first, and then he hesitated, a smile on his face. I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. A few hours would be enough. That's it. I will make you immobile for few hours, and that would be enough for me. I will leave this city, I'll go somewhere else, and police will never be able to catch me. She looked at him seriously. You would hurt me? Are you planning to hurt me? Horace paused and then said, I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. No, ma'am, I was just scaring you. I'm not going to hurt you, I was just scaring you. That's it. Oh please, you didn't frighten me, you didn't scare me. डरती नहीं हूँ मैं, डरी नहीं हूँ मैं. कहीं अगर आपको लग रहा हो कि मैं डर गई हूँ, डरी नहीं हूँ मैं. Horace suggested me, ma'am, see, it would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me. Let me go, please. Let's cut it here, na. Let me go. You don't know me, I don't know you. You forget that you met me, I will forget that I met you. Baat khatam, na. Let me go. The voice was suddenly sharp. Why should I? Why should I let you go? You were going to rob me. तुम मुझे लूटने वाले थे. If I let you go, you will only rob someone else. You will probably rob somebody else then. If you are not put behind the bar, you are a menace for the society. You are a problem for the society. Society must be protected from men like you. Horace smiled. Oh ma'am, please. What you are thinking is entirely wrong. I am not a man who threatens society. I am not at all a threat to the society. I haven't done anything like that, and I don't do anything like that. Please. I steal only from those who have lots of money. That's it. I don't trouble the poor people. And I also steal for a very good reason. I don't want to tell you, but I always steal for a very good reason. And we all know what is that good reason. That good reason is purchasing book. And I hate the thought of prison. And dusri baat, I don't like to go to prison. I don't want to go to prison. So please, ma'am, let me go. She laughed and he begged. He thought that he had persuaded her. Somewhere he was very positive. He was thinking कि शायद मैंने इसे मना लिया है. Look, she said. कहता है, आगे भी कहा, उसने आगे भी यही बात कही. See, I have no right to ask you for anything. I know I am a thief. I entered into your house. I was about to steal things. And you caught me. So I am not in a position to ask for anything. I know that I am not in that position. But ma'am, I'm sorry, I'm desperate. I really don't want to go to the police. I really don't want to be in the jail. Let me go, and I promise I will never do this kind of thing again. Promise कर रहा हूँ मैं कभी नहीं करूँगा ऐसा दोबारा. I will leave this stealing things. ये जो stealing business है, I'll leave that. I really mean it. And I promise, I mean it. I will not steal anything, anymore. I will leave this, you can say, tendency of stealing things. छोड़ दूंगा मैं ये. She was silent, watching him closely. Then she said, you are really afraid of going to prison, aren't you? I can see that you don't want to go to prison. You are quite scared, aren't you? She came over to him, shaking her head, and then she gave this line. She said, I have always liked the wrong kind of people. I just don't know I'm liking you. I always like the wrong kind of people. पता नहीं क्यों मुझे बुरे लोग ही ज़्यादा पसंद आते हैं. She picked up a silver box from the table. She took a cigarette from it. Now this line is very important because at this moment, Horace is removing his gloves. Horace was eager to please her. Anyhow, he wanted to please her. बस खुश करके यहाँ से निकलना चाहता था. So, seeing that she might help him, he took off his gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. You will let me go. He held the lighter towards her. जाने दोगे ना आप मुझे? Yes, but only if you will do something for me. तुम्हें मेरे लिए कुछ करना पड़ेगा. Anything you say, ma'am. Anything. See, I have an issue. Actually, before we left for London, I promised my husband that I will take all my jewel and I will, you can say, submit them to the bank and I will keep them in the locker. ये मैंने अपने husband से promise किया था. But I left them here in the safe. हुआ ये कि वो गलती से सारे ज्वेलरी मेरी सेफ में ही रह गई है. And the thing is this कि I want to wear them for a party tonight. Tonight there's a party and I want my jewelry. And the problem is that कि so I came down to get them but बोलकर वो चुप हो गई और होरेस ने समझ लिया कि इस लेडी के साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या है. But you have forgotten the number to open the safe. Okay. I can understand your problem, ma'am. I can see that you have forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? Yes, replied the young lady. Just leave that to me. आप promise करो that you will let me go. I will do this work for you. Leave that to me. You will have them within an hour. Within an hour, your jewelry will be in your hand. But I'll have to break your safe. But yes, आपकी safe टूटेगी जरूर. Oh, that's not a problem. Don't worry about that. My husband won't be here for a month. तब तक I'll get it repaired. मैं सेफ रिपेयर करवा लूँगी, टेंशन वाली कोई बात नहीं है. And within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given her jewels and gone happily away. 1 घंटे में ही opened the safe, ज्वेलरी दी और वहाँ से खुशी खुशी चला गया. For 2 days he kept his promise to the kind young lady. For 2 days so he was easily able to keep the promise that he will not steal anything. But after 2 days, he started missing those 3 new books. However, he thought of the books he wanted, and now he knew that he would have to look for another safe. He will again have to study. He will again have to do the Reiki work. He will again have to do all the calculation, and he will have to rob another safe this year. Then and only then he will be able to purchase those books. But the thing is this कि he never got the chance to begin his plan. दूसरी सेफ को लूटने के प्लान को शुरू करने का उसे मौका ही नहीं मिला. By noon, उसी दिन अगले दिन दोपहर तक a policeman had arrested him. A policeman came over there, arrested him for the jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. कि आपको शॉटओवर ग्रांज में चोरी करने के जुर्म में पकड़ा जाता है, अरेस्ट किया जाता है. His fingerprints, for he opened the safe without gloves. His fingerprints were all over the room. And no one believed him when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. He kept on saying in front of the police, he kept on repeating in front of the police, he kept on again and again. He said only one statement, sir. घर की मालकिन ने मुझे कहा था, मकान मालिक की बीवी ने तो मुझे कहा था to open the safe for her. मैंने उसके लिए खोला था. But the wife herself, a grey-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60. But जब घर की मालकिन आई तो he was shocked because she was a grey-haired, सफ़ेद बालों वाली, शार्प टंग वाली, 60 years की ओल्ड लेडी थी. She said that the story was nonsense. इसने मेरे लिए कोई लॉकर नहीं खोला, झूठ बोल रही है. ऑब्वियस सी बात है, बुढ़िया के लिए तो उसने खोला ही नहीं था. देन ही रियलाइज कि इसके साथ तो डबल क्रॉस हुआ है, डबल गेम हुई है. Horace is now the assistant librarian in the prison. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady जो ठीक इसी के प्रोफेशन में थी, बट इससे थोड़ी ज़्यादा चालाक थी. वो भी चोरनी. वो जो रेड गाउन में वो जो लेडी वहाँ थी, वो भी उस रात वहाँ चोरी करने आई थी. वो भी चोर थी, लेकिन वो होरेस से ज़्यादा चालाक थी. उसने होरेस को अपनी बातों में फंसाया एंड ट्रिक्ड हिम, और उसे ट्रिक किया, उसे चीट किया, उसे ड्यूप किया, उसे धोखा दिया. आज भी जब लोग होरेस के सामने कभी बोलते हैं ना कि चोरों के भी उसूल होते हैं, ऑनर अमंग थीव्स। होरेस को ये सुनते ही बहुत गुस्सा आ जाता है कि चोरों के कोई उसूल नहीं होते, बिकॉज आज अगर वो जेल में है तो वो एक दूसरे चोर की वजह से है जिसने उसूल नहीं दिखाए थे, जिसने बिल्कुल भी उसूल नहीं दिखाए थे, और उस दूसरी लेडी की वजह से ही इज़ इन द जेल राइट नाउ. So this is the chapter question of trust. He trusted on a lady and that lady cheated him, and then he realized that there is no honor among thieves as well. चोरों के बीच में भी कोई उसूल नहीं होते, जिसको जहाँ दांव लगता है वो आपको लूट लेता है, आपको फंसा देता है, और होरेस जेल में फंस गया. दिस इज द स्टोरी बाय विक्टर कैनिंग, द क्वेश्चन ऑफ ट्रस्ट. आई होप आप लोगों को समझ में आ गई. थैंक यू.